by the Thai authorities. They'll be handed over to the Indian authorities, who will get them to India. What we also hear from our sources is that in India, it first be taken to Delhi, from where a transit demand would be sought and they'll be brought to Goa. So we expect them to be in Goa by tomorrow. Meanwhile, of course, the government authorities as well as the police here at Goa, would be holding a meeting to ensure that they discuss the further plan of action. Now at Goa, first there will be a medical that will be conducted for them, following which they will also be produced before the court. The police here will try and seek maximum custody of theirs on the grounds that they tried to flee the country when there were 25 people who lost their life. With the fact that within an hour of the time when within the incident taking place at Birch, if they try to escape, cops will also try and understand if there were any more people involved along with them who helped them manage escape. Yes.
Absolutely, Esha. That is another big question on everyone's minds right now. Also, Simran, let me come to you on that. Of course, the day that IndiGo was facing massive cancellations and flight disruptions, these two brothers managed to get on a flight at 5:30 a.m. hours after that incident at their establishment in Goa and then flee to Thailand. They hatched this entire plan pretty much in about 50 minutes or so. 1:17 is where they booked their flights to Thailand. So there are questions whether or not they were colluding with other people. They had tip-offs, they had some help from the inside. Now, Simran, what can you tell us?
Well, absolutely. In fact, that's where the buck really stops. And as you spoke, that really, while the entire incident had unfolded, it had raised alarm. The authorities came in. The fire brigade also reportedly reached late, as per the latest account of the eyewitness that we had, in conversation with. While all of this was happening, the first priority of those who on paper are the owners and have been operating the functions here was to flee the country. And even in doing so, all of these functions and planning all of that exit route, they managed to get on a flight when it was the worst time for across the people in the country who have been losing businesses, losing opportunities and facing the brunt of the aviation crisis. But at the very same time, now coming out and through the legal procedures, the councils, they are being informed that, they went to Phuket like it was just another work thing and going to Phuket at that point of time when a lookout circular is going to be issued against you, when the Interpol has come in, and at the same time you have violated the immigration laws, you have violated the local authorities, and you have been placed under, in fact, charges of severe culpable homicide and also other charges of being in that position that had created the death trap for killing 25 people at your property. What about those innocent lives that have been present there? And what about these many properties that you have been sitting on, operating for over a large number of time and across these 2 years, violating all the norms, not even giving any reply to the local authorities? So that was a very blatant script for any criminal in making, whether it is about the local charges or is it about other charges related to the severe, acts as well under the BNS. But at the very same time, now the matter is going to be bringing, more relief for the Goa Police. Because remember, there has been immense pressure on the Goa Police as well, as questions were raised, as Goa Chief Minister Pramod Sawant had also come out and took this matter in consideration, issued statement very particularly, also vowing that the strictest action will be taken. So at most, in fact, this seems as if this is going to be a big relief for all the authorities, including the officials and the Goa Chief Minister as well, who had issued a statement that the first priority is to get them, because they have been operating all of these functions. They were running a business that was very illegal, unauthorized, and was on a salt plane. So this is where the contention also lies. So these are also the question, not just the criminals, but also those officials which inside the system have been helping them. So actually where exactly the help was coming from is going to be a route. Another side, there is also going to be a questioning that will lead all of these answers also into the fray as to who has been behind them, helping them hand in hand to manage these operations while they were present in the national capital as well, and they have been operating all of these properties also across the national capital. So big questions definitely are there on the dais, yes, but what really remains unanswered is actually how we see the entire series unfolding in the court as well as today we speak of the hearing that will take place as well.
Absolutely, Simran, of course. Now, the two Luthra brothers were thinking on their feet. They were just not fast enough. The authorities have caught up. The Luthra brothers have been detained in Thailand. They did try and avert the Thai authorities there. Also, we're given to understand that they did try to change their resort one time or so, but that did not amount to anything. These are the visuals, exclusive CNN News 18 visuals that we're getting to you of the Luthra brothers since that fire at their establishment at Birch by Romeo Lane. That is them. Saurabh and Gaurav Luthra, handcuffed. Those are their passports and they have been detained by the Thai authorities. Indian teams are already in Thailand and their deportation process is underway. We're given to understand that they will be brought back to India perhaps by this evening or maybe tomorrow. So that's what we do know right now. Let's also take a look at how the agencies have tracked the Luthras. Indian and Thai agencies, of course, this is an example of close coordination between the Indian and Thai agencies. They were in constant touch, we're given to understand. Now, Intel has also pinpointed the targets outside the main city limits. We are given to understand that the Luthra brothers, their movements were being tracked by the Thai authorities. This was a joint operation which was successfully conducted on the 11th of December. As you know, they were detained early this morning in Phuket. The Luthra brothers were detained. Immigration process is now underway and they are expected to return by late tonight or maybe early tomorrow morning, we're given to understand. And once the Luthra brothers are here, they will, of course, seek a transit remand and then be sent to Goa, where this is under the jurisdiction of the Goa Police. And then, of course, they face the charge. The one big charge that we do know right now of is culpable homicide not amounting to murder. We have with us Yesha and Simran, who have stayed on with us. Yesha, let me just come to you on this one. The Luthra brothers hashed this entire plan in the span of an hour or so. They were not quick enough though. The Thai authorities were constantly tracking their movements. It's the intent of the brothers that will be brought to question also. Because why did they flee an hour after? It's up to them now to provide evidentiary support because they've cited that this was a work trip. A flight for which they booked at 1:17 a.m. an hour after the establishment was up in flames.
Absolutely. You know, when we speak of this, the fact that Luthra brothers had in fact gone ahead to flee within 1 hour of the incident questions their intent. Now, you know, when the hearing took place yesterday at Rohini Court, there was a clear mention that it was a work trip. If it was a work trip, it would have been a well-planned trip. You know, like we've been discussing about in the midst of IndiGo crisis when there were flights which were not available. The fact that Luthra brothers managed to get a flight, you know, within 1 hour of the inferno, managed to escape within 5 hours of the fire taking place is in itself questionable, and this will be something that will be a strong argument before the court when the remand of Luthra brothers is sought. Now, on the other hand, that we speak of being the owners of the club, we of course saw a statement that came in from Saurabh Luthra after he reached Thailand. He said, you know, he would support the families who lost their life. But the fact that there were 20 of his employees who had, you know, lost their life in the inferno, it was, as the owner of the pub, like you rightly said, was a responsibility of the Luthra brothers themselves. So this is, in fact, a question of intent. And, you know, further questions, the intent of brothers on the hand that, you know, there are cops have found that there have been several irregularities and illegal construction has taken place on on this very property where the fire took place on 7th of December. Yes.
All right, of course, there are multiple red flags. The more we learn about this, the construction of this particular establishment, the land that this establishment was built on, there were no safety checks in place for this also. So there is that intent that's under question as well. But the question here also remains, why did it have to take a tragedy and 25 innocent lives for the government to finally crack the whip here? A paper trail of complaints against Birch by Romeo Lane, which we've also shared with you viewers, starting December 2023. 2 years prior to this tragic incident, it reveals that this popular spot, this party hub, which turned into an inferno on Saturday, had been flagged multiple times by villagers and environmental activists for flouting norms, but their efforts went in vain. First up is the demolition notice that I want to bring to you, dated December 20th, 2023, that mentions unauthorized construction of shops. Site inspection notice was issued and they decided to issue a show cause notice as well. They did mention unauthorized construction of shops, restaurants, structures at this particular land at this site, which did not have coastal regional zone clearance either. It described a grim reality: illegal construction, foul water being dumped into the river, and an underwater dance floor that was on the verge of collapse. The complainants warned that human lives were at serious risk if nothing was going to be done about this. And that's exactly what we saw, didn't we? The notice warned of site inspection and was followed up by a show cause notice. All right then, in 2024, here's another one. The local village panchayat also scheduled an inspection. Then, on January 17, they confirmed the construction was illegal. So they knew of this. After the notice, site inspection was flagged and the management was asked to be present at the site with relevant documents to prove otherwise. But that did not happen either. A show cause notice then followed once again on the 15th of February, and by the 13th of March, the panchayat drafted a demolition proposal, giving the club owner 15 days to comply. This was back in 2024, March, remember. Warnings were also sent by block development officials. However, nothing changed. The owner did not produce the required documents. Instead, he appealed the higher authorities. As a result, the demolition order was stayed by the regional panchayat's authority and berths stayed open. We all know what happened after. Now, Yesha is with us. Now, Yesha, of course, and Yesha and Simran are with us. Simran, let me come to you. We were talking about how the brothers also, you have shown us documents also, the GST documents, the documents, all of these issues that were, all of these notices that were issued for this establishment also, Simran. When we talk about these two brothers, they are saying that they were not the principal owners. They were only leasing this land and they were only licensees. I want to understand, how are they going to be able to prove this when their name is on every possible document? There have been whistleblower complaints. There have been complaints of intimidation by authorities when any time an issue was raised with this establishment. What can you tell us, Simran, on that?
Well, that's a very valid question. Once we, in fact, look at all the information that's before us, and while we try to make sense of the documents that we have also, in fact, exclusively also shared with our viewers, what really remains at the in fact core of this, the center of...
All right, Simran, do stay on with us. I'm going to come back to you. Let's just go across to Arunima, who has been bringing us all the updates from Phuket, where all the action is happening right now. Arunima, let me come to you. What is happening right now?
So the Phuket airport is seeing a lot of activity, especially around immigration, because it is the immigration where the Thai authorities will finally look at the paperwork, and the deputation process of the Luthra brothers will begin there. So from the detention center, the Luthra brothers have been brought to the Phuket airport. The Indian authorities have been constantly in touch with them. There is a high-level meeting that Goa government has also initiated, because the final custody, we are told, will go to the Goa Police. So 2-3 things here. Over the last 3 days, what has really happened? At the immigration point at the New Delhi airport itself, even though there was no lookout circular at the point that Luthra brothers were leaving, after they crossed over immigration, the authorities there pointed out that they have left the country, and through that immigration route, they figured out that they are on en route to Thailand. So Thai authorities were informed at Phuket, because you have to give your biometrics. So they were captured, their photographs were captured at the Phuket immigration point, and subsequently they went to an area in Phuket where the famous Patong beach is located. It's a very touristy area, a lot of resorts there. So they first checked into a resort there, but soon they changed their location, managed to give the Thai authorities a slip for some time. But then, as per sources, Thai authorities again figured out what their latest location was, and they were just waiting for the Interpol Blue Notice to be executed and Indian authorities to present the right paperwork. As soon as all of those formalities were completed, the two brothers were detained. The exclusive pictures that we are putting out shows that Saurabh Luthra and his brother Gaurav Luthra, their passport is being identified. Through that, their identity was established by the Thai authorities, by the Thai police, and soon after, Indian authorities were alerted. So as we are speaking, at the Phuket airport, those immigration formalities are being completed. It is about a 5-hour flight journey from Phuket to Delhi. So by the late evening or, by night, you could see the Luthra brothers finally facing Indian law of the land.
Absolutely, Arunima. I want to also point out a couple of things here. Of course, these two brothers booked their flights within an hour of what happened at their establishment in Goa and the 25 lives that were lost. They booked a flight at 1:17 a.m. They are also... Now, it's also important to note, viewers, that we are the only channel right now getting you all the ground developments from the Phuket airport, where all the action is right now. Arunima has been bringing us all these big developments. Now, Arunima, on that, I want to say, 4 days after this entire thing, they also then filed that appeal for the anticipatory bail. Then they are citing that this was actually a work trip. So, did it really take them 4 days to realize that this was a work trip and that perhaps they would have to come back, and then they sought relief from the Rohini court also?
See, as per Goa Police records, at about 1:17 a.m. on the 7th of December, which is about an hour and 15 minutes after the inferno started, the Luthra brothers had booked their tickets on the Make My Trip platform. So if this was a work trip, did they realize at 1 a.m. at night that they had it was an emergency work that for which they had to come to Phuket? So the onus is on them to prove what was the urgency, why were they, in such a pressing rush to come to Phuket? What was that work-related urgency? Second, were they not aware that 25 of their own employees have lost their lives? Should they not have, cancelled whatever this work trip was and taken care of their employees? Third, at the Rohini court, their lawyer said that they should be given anticipatory big bail because one of them had a medical condition. He had epilepsy. So if you had epilepsy, if you had medical condition, if you were indeed sorry about what had happened, why were you waiting for an anticipatory bail to come through? Why could you not just fly back and then submit yourself to investigation there? Then this entire wild goose chase could have been avoided. 4 days, Goa Police, the Interpol, Ministry of External Affairs, other agencies from the center, they have all been working in tandem to get these two brothers back to India. All of that could have been avoided.
Once again, viewers, of course, we are the only channel right now bringing you all the ground updates from Phuket right now. Now, the question here is what next for the Luthras? They have been detained. The duo are to be deported. We're expecting them sometime late tonight or maybe early morning. Indian officials will take custody of the Luthra brothers. They're already on spot there in Thailand, in Phuket. An Indian team is present at the Phuket airport right now, from where Arunima has been bringing us all the latest developments from ground zero. The duo are to arrive in Delhi and then they will be taken to Goa on a transit remand, because this of course falls under the jurisdiction of the Goa Police. So they will first be brought to the national capital and then be taken on a transit remand to Goa. Arunima, let me come to you back again. Of course, we were talking about the intent of the Luthra brothers that will be brought into question. Also, let's talk about the statement that you also mentioned right now, that they posted mere hours after they landed in Phuket. Do you think that was perhaps a slip on their part, or do you think that was just a very lousy attempt of trying to absolve themselves of what had happened at their establishment, which was really just a disaster waiting to happen?
See, it could have been a panicky reaction because they got to know that 25 people have lost their lives and they realized that the onus will be on them. So they left at short notice. That could be one reason. Second, if you look at their social media profile, Phuket has been a destination that the Luthra brothers have been frequenting. So they were aware about the geography of Phuket. They were aware about the local people here, the contact. There was a sense of comfort, a comfort level with this place. That perhaps was the reason why they chose Phuket. Also, keep in mind the fact that this is the time when IndiGo flight operations were really stranded. For those 2 days, the Delhi airport was a mess and it was reflective of airports across the country. So if they just wanted to escape from Goa and go to some other place, perhaps it would have been difficult. However, the international operations were relatively easy. And I checked this with IndiGo. They said that international operations were all right. There were no such problem. In fact, the crew with which we traveled, we took the same flight from Delhi to Phuket today, the same flight that they had taken. And we spoke to the crew as well. So the information that CNN News 18 gathered is that they tried very hard not to attract attention to themselves. It looks like that the two brothers traveled with another woman. The identity of the woman is not established as yet. And it was only when the Indian immigration authorities alerted their Thai counterpart, that's when at the immigration desk, they were captured for the first time and it was established beyond doubt that they were in Phuket.
All right, a very important detail that Arunima is bringing us there, that they were first captured at the immigration stop. there before when they reached Phuket, and that was the first time that they were pictured there also. Now, again, we are talking about the intent there, and as you mentioned, Arunima, that the onus to provide evidentiary support for the fact that this was a work trip lies on them. Now, let me come to you back, Simran, for more on this. They've also made this audacious attempt to say that this is in fact a witch hunt. They were only leasing this place and they're only licensees. Now, how and what sort of reasons will they cite for this when their name is on every possible document, the GST documents, the other documents that you've shared with us?
Well, absolutely. In fact, right now it is very easy to understand that what we think of the remedies that they have so far to fight in this legal battle are very less, because at this point of time they are cornered by every nook and crook, as the documents say it loud, and as their own registration papers. Had even not this inferno taken place, still the land, this is very important to note here, that still the land would have been caught up in that cobweb of all the lies and all the illegalities. So essentially also, they are not just under the charges of the criminal proceedings because of this inferno. But this inferno is in fact the highest of the crimes that they are charged with. But apart from that, if we speak from the point of view of the initiation of the proceedings by the government department as well, had they not been helped through any of the officials or through the back-end resources, they would have been charged with the charges of procuring in fact materials on the same land that was deemed to be illegal. Now, why is that land illegal is also a big question, and right now this is a separate inquiry that is now being looked into under the pressure of the Goa government, by the office of the collector, by the office of that department as well, that had issued and summoned them many notices over these 2 years as well. But what remains to be even concerning, that neither in the past and nor in the recent times, these brothers and all the people party in this organizational structure had been complicit to give a reply. If you are conducting a crime in such a sort, they have been completely non-complicit with the proceedings of the law as well earlier. And now, when in fact this sort of an incident had happened on the night of the 6th December, what was their first reaction? As my colleague Arunima has also highlighted about what really they thought, and this could have been panic for these brothers who did not know what to really do as a first and an immediate step. But they initially, after having done so much criminally, in fact, wrong in the past 2 years, they just fled the country. So that is why, in amounting to all of these actions that they have taken place, and now, even after fleeing the country, they are moving. They are moving their petitions through the legal remedies that they did not go to Phuket because of any personal work or to even escape the law. But it was just a work trip. This is also going to be questionable. Now, all these points through which the contention has been brought up, and I also spoke about how exactly not just the salt pan, but they also were using this land that was illegal to take out many other activities for the business revenue. So all the revenue that their company and their firm that was generating, which they now claimed in front of the court, that they were just the licensees. But what really remains to be the answer of all these questions, that if you were the licensees only, then why are the names of not the Goa club and the general manager or the staff is not on the papers?
Right.
Why? How would you in fact counter that? So definitely these are the questions while the hearing will take place and the matter will be disposed of before the court, and when the Indian authorities who have left for Thailand as well to take him back, they are also going to be with him. So the matter is being in fact pressurized from all the corners, and why would not it be? He also has to be accountable for these deaths that have taken place on the land that he has been illegally making revenue and money for more than 2 years.
Right. All right. Now, Yasha, let me come to you on this. I want to talk to you about the landowner who is important to note right now is also absconding. We're talking about a certain Surinder Khosla. Of course, Ajay Gupta was detained on Tuesday. He does have a transit remand of 36 hours, also will be brought to Goa. We're given to understand the Luthra brothers have been detained and the process is underway for that. Also, let's talk about the landowner here, who I understand is a British citizen, is also absconding.
Absolutely. In fact, when the Goa police was not able to find out the Luthra brothers, they issued LOC against 4 people, which included both the brothers Gaurav and Saurav Luthra. Apart from that, an LOC was also issued against Surinder Khosla, and following which another LOC was against Ajay Gupta. Now, when you speak of Ajay Gupta, like you rightly mentioned, he was already arrested from Goa, from Delhi yesterday. Eventually, has been taken on a transit remand. He's in Goa, and today he'll be produced before the court. For further remand by the Goa Police. On the other hand, now that we speak of, when it comes to Surinder Khosla is a British citizen. What cops, in fact, have said that they're assuming that he would have also fled the country after this incident took place. Several whistleblowers, from Goa have also alleged that Surinder Khosla's role also should in fact be questioned when it comes to the whole inferno at Burj by Romeo Lane, particularly because the initial owner of the land had sold this property to Surinder Khosla almost more than a decade back. This was, in fact, a salt pan that we speak of, and on the salt pan is where this Burj by Romeo Lane was set up. Now we've, in fact, like we've seen about that, there was a dance floor below the land level as well, and which is where this in fact amounts to illegal construction. So if Luthra brothers are being questioned for illegal construction, Surinder Khosla, who's the owner of the land, should also be questioned for the same. Yes.
All right. Now, Yesha and Simran, thank you so much for staying with us. Do stay on. There's lots more to discuss and unpack here. Also, we're just going to slip into a very short break, but don't go anywhere. News and updates will continue on the other side on CNN News 18, the only channel who's right now been bringing you all the developments from Phuket.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network. This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Exclusive images of the Luthra brothers. As Aman was also highlighting, this is the Thai immigration authority official accompanying both the brothers. In their hands, as you can see, is the passport that they are holding on to. The deportation process has started. Important to highlight that it is via the deportation process that these brothers will be brought back, not via any extradition treaty. Why? Because deportation processes work faster. Remember, this is under a blue corner notice that both the brothers are being tracked by the Thai agencies. Why is the blue corner notice so crucial over here to highlight? Because under this blue corner notice, the Interpol channels communicate with authorities from both the countries. In this case, as far as the Luthra brothers are concerned, the Indian authorities were working in close coordination with their Thai counterparts. They were given a tip-off in terms of the location of the Luthra brothers. Remember, they even tried to bluff the authorities. They changed the location. Once the location was changed, they eventually moved to a resort in Phuket. That's where the authorities from Thailand were able to eventually track them down. From there, they were brought back, and all the action, as you can see in these images, the first ones on your channel, CNN News 18, these exclusive images accessed by us, our group security editor, Mr. Manoj Gupta, go on to indicate that all the action has moved to Phuket airport. This is where the deportation process will now begin. Indian officials will be handed the Luthra brothers over. To take that forward, let me quickly go back to Aman and Ankur and Yesha, who continue to stay with us. So, Ankur, if you can give us an insight into what the entire procedure is going to be like now.
Yeah, so for the picture, the official visible in the picture is basically the immigration officer, and this works under the Royal Thai Police. So certainly it is also the very close and good coordination within the Thai authorities, and the Thai authorities initially, the local police must have gone to the place where they were residing, and then they handed over to the immigration office, immigration department, and after that they must have sent to the detention center. Now this has already, the deportation process has already begun. It shows that they must have stamped the cancelled of their visa, cancellation of their visa. The immigration of Thai authorities must have stamped that on their passport, and also it would be very tough for them to again visit the Thailand. So once if you get deported from one place, it would be very tough for any person to go back to that place. So in future also they won't be able to allow to enter into Thailand. And after this, the Indian authorities will be giving all the details to Thailand authority, Thailand Immigration Department, and the Immigration Department also look after the monitoring of the foreign nationals who have arrived from the different countries. And after fulfilling the documentation process, the Indian authorities, Indian.
Welcome back to CNN News 18. The Thailand Immigration Authority spoke exclusively to CNN News 18 in an exclusive telephonic conversation. They have, of course, confirmed to CNN News 18 about the detention of the Luthra brothers. They've also said that they've shared all the information about the detention and their deportation process with the Indian embassy. So this is the latest that we're learning right now. The Thailand Immigration Authority spoke exclusively to CNN News 18, the only channel right now bringing you all the updates from the Phuket airport and what is really going on there. For more on this, we have Aman Sharma with us. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, we have to talk about the coordinated effort to bring these two brothers back to India between the Thai authorities and the Indian authorities. And it's their quick action and thinking that has led to this quick deportation process.
Well, yes, our colleague Ankur Agrawal has spoken exclusively to the Thailand immigration authorities, and that is what they are telling us, that they have shared all the information with the Indian embassy. The Thailand immigration is confirming it to CNN News 18 that yes, the Luthra brothers have been detained and all information has been shared by Thailand with the Indian embassy in Thailand. The Indian embassy is very well aware of what exactly has happened, and this now in a way confirms that the Luthra brothers could soon be in India. What we are learning is that they were detained earlier today morning after a raid was carried out at the place that they were staying. This stems out of two developments which happened yesterday. Number one, a local court in Rohini granting no relief to the Luthra brothers. They had moved there for anticipatory bail, but no relief was granted to them. Number two, their passports have been suspended by the Ministry of External Affairs. So effectively, they cannot remain in Thailand any longer. So the Thailand authorities have taken them to a detention center. What we are learning that they could be soon taken to the Phuket airport and put on a flight back to India. Now the Thailand immigration authorities, for the first time to any Indian channel, is now confirming that they have shared all this information with the Indian embassy. Yes, the Luthra brothers have been detained in Thailand and they will be deported. This will not follow the long process of extradition which usually happens in these cases. Multiple courts, appeals are filed, takes years. We have seen that in many other cases. Right. But I think in this particular case, a very good coordination between the Indian agencies, the Interpol, the Thai authorities, ever since December 7th, when on that 5:30 a.m. flight, within a couple of hours of that fire engulfing their property, the Luthra brothers made good their escape. Since then, the blue corner notice of Interpol came almost immediately on the 8th. And then we have seen these fast-track developments where the Indian authorities have been able to convince the Thailand authorities through the good diplomatic relations we have with Thailand, good relations also, I think, of the central agencies and the Thailand police agencies, all of them coming together in the nabbing of the Luthra brothers, and they could be deported back to India as early as today or maximum tomorrow early morning.